All right, thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me, guys. Super excited to spend some time with you guys here today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about why you guys being part of this Ordinal stream, being here on this Ordinal stage, when you guys look back on this moment in maybe 5 to 6 years' time, you guys are going to recall this as being probably one of the most important half a day, few hours that you spent in your entire life. And I'll tell you the reasons why we think that. I'm going to share a few stories about what we're building in Control. I'm going to share a few stories about the mentors that we seek inspiration from and where we get all of our learning from. And then I'm going to spend a little bit of time on telling you where I think the future of this space is going and the future of digital movements is going. So in terms of building a decentralized brand, which is what we're doing, we really take our power from building cultural movements, right? And if anybody who knows Control, from the day we started, everybody knows that we're culture first. It's a core pillar of Control that culture comes before commerce. And we really focus on storytelling and doing things that people really care about. I'm going to tell you still a story. Good Things mentioned on the panel earlier, he touched upon Supreme. How did Supreme start? It was 1994, New York City. New York City is still a super dangerous place. Mayor Giuliani is in power, and he's tasked with reducing crime in the city, but crime is still high. The skateboarding scene in New York is kind of popping off, but there's no real skate shops in New York. And James Jebbia shows up on Lafayette Street and sets up a tiny little skate shop serving the core community of skaters there. No ads, no VCs, no marketing budget, just a strong understanding of what the community wants and what it is looking for, and really understanding the culture of what was needed. It's 30 years since Supreme was founded. Supreme just sold recently for $1 billion US. And you know, it just shows you exactly how long it takes and where these kind of movements started. It's the same with, if you think about Banksy. Banksy spent a lot of his early days, most of his art was not considered art by the art world, and he was shunned from almost every major art conference, every major art gallery. And you know, you all know the story of Banksy, Banksy now. So if you look at, for example, you know, where we get some of our learnings from and how we translate this into Control, we have 3 main pillars at Control. The first is always dope art. That's always going to be a center of our project. And you know, with all due respect to all of the artists that have spoken here and have presented here, One Penny Piece, who is the creative director of Control, whose art runs through everything that we do, in my opinion, is the most important artist to have ever graced the blockchain. And the reason is because, you know, people are still discovering all of the messages that are incorporated in his art. The layers and layers and layers upon his art are things that will be discovered for years to come. So whether Banksy is putting a bulletproof vest on Stormzy to talk about the state of the United Kingdom with a Union Jack, and you know, whether we are inscribing condoms onto the Bitcoin blockchain, which you see at the bottom, and you know, giving a statement about what the state of the Bitcoin and the Ordinal space is. These are all avenues of using, whether you're using a wall to put up graffiti, whether you're using a bulletproof vest, whether you're using hoodies to make a statement. It's really all about making a statement and creating a message, rather than corporations or companies coming and dictating what culture should be. Culture is always organic. It starts from the grassroots, and it starts from things that people really care about. Focus on what people really care about and make them feel something. That is a very important pillar of Control. Whatever we do, whenever we show up, We always make people feel something. If we can make your heartbeat a little bit faster, we've done our job. And what that will translate in a few years down the road, nobody knows. All we care about is talking about this real issue that is affecting us, which is like a slow-moving problem. People are really hyper-focused on the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's at 100,000. Oh no, tomorrow Bitcoin's at 50,000. Today it's at 96K, and it's like a bear market. And tomorrow it's 150K. Like, the price of Bitcoin, we believe, is a reflection of what is happening in centralized finance. This is something that we feel very, very strongly about. We think that Bitcoin is a solution to a problem that actually not many people understand. It's no coincidence that you start every year having to work twice as hard just to stay in the same place. Young people cannot afford to buy an apartment. Everybody's working 2 or 3 jobs. And at the same time, we are fed like, pornographic levels of wealth through our TikTok streams, creating aspiration for us to reach out to some kind of impossible dreams. And at the same time, we're being fed credit through services like Klarna. It's almost like they're giving us a rope to hang ourselves, right? This entire system is completely broken. We're all sitting on a poker table and all the cards are completely decked against you. It's a game that you just cannot win. It's completely rigged. And we feel that Bitcoin is a solution to all of this, but we also understand that there's a massive gap in the knowledge and the information. A lot of the panelists that came before me were talking about this need for education. And there's many ways in which you can educate. You can stand here and do speeches, you can write papers, you can write books, but we feel that art, culture, and really making people feel something and embedding the message into something that people really understand, and it's something that is easily translatable to people, is the way that you really plant the seed into people's head. And so we always tend to lead with the art first. And these examples have come before us. Whether it's Virgil Abloh making commentary about people selling high-value things for insane prices. These are all things that are lessons that we learn from. If you guys were at Bitcoin Nashville, you would have seen, for example, our entrance into the music space. We partnered with an amazing artist called Violetta Zeroni, who is a Web3 musician. She only publishes her music on the blockchain. And we drove into the conference with Cybertrucks right into the middle of the conference, and she got up on the back and she sang a song. It's like, why do we do this? Like, we don't really have to go to these extents and these levels. And we do this because we want people to sit up and take notice, right? It's like you create these cultural moments, and maybe it sparks up an idea, and maybe it kind of makes people curious about what they should do and how they should approach things. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the blockchain being the ultimate street corner, and it is a place, for example, where we have this graffiti wall, which is completely universal. It's global. It's completely visible to everybody. And, you have the opportunity here to, make a statement on something that is visible to everybody. And that's something that I think is really unique about Ordinals. The blockchain space is like, if you inscribe something on the blockchain, the people that are kind of avidly watching the space, they'll know it immediately. Yesterday, for example, OMB inscribed something. They don't need to pay ad agencies. They don't need any kind of marketing budget. It was picked up by somebody. The entire space knows that they're doing something, and they've issued kind of a list of instructions or some kind of puzzle for people to work out. Previously, this is an example of a Banksy piece that he did in 2017. This is a wall outside the Barbican in London. In 2017, the Barbican had an exhibition for celebrating Jean-Michel Basquiat posthumously. And Banksy created a piece on this wall that was talking about how street art had become institutionalized. It had gone from something that people didn't even consider was art, and it was shunned from places, to now kind of being celebrated as part of like an institutional exhibition. And he was making a statement on it. And that wall, once he had made his graffiti, became a war zone. You had people that tagged over it, then you had other people that tagged over that piece. The point I'm making here, though, is that while that was really great, you had to actually get up off your sofa and go and see this, to see what the latest tag was, what the latest graffiti was on top of this. And the beauty, of course, of Ordinals is that you don't have to do that. You just inscribe. You inscribe over it, and you're able to deliver those messages immediately. And so we use the blockchain to deliver our messages. Here we were at Inscribing Amsterdam, and we created these central wanker masks to celebrate our glorious central wankers who make our life so hell. And again, it's something that we love doing, because we like to make people stand up and take notice. The other thing I would say is that just in terms of the kind of things that we do here, is that to raise awareness of the demise of fiat, we created a funeral in Bitcoin Miami, and again at NFC Lisbon, where we rocked up with a hearse, we rocked up with a casket, pallbearers, a gospel choir, a huge casket full of cash, and we marched straight into the conference. Actually, at NFC Lisbon, it created quite a scene, because we hired a few people to mourn, some actors, to cry about the death of fiat, and they took it quite a step further and started screaming and wailing, and people started coming out of the conference going, "What the fuck who died here? Like, what is happening?" We've been banned and shut down from pretty much every conference that has happened. Actually, while we were filming outside on the main square at NFC, the gendarme came and they used to shut us down. Apparently, they have some kind of objection to people in ski masks. I don't know why, but it's part and parcel of what we do. It's because this is the way that we transfer or translate our message to people in the mainstream. Everybody in this room, maybe you guys know Ordinals already, but how do we get this message to people that don't know the Ordinal space so much? And that's really our mission. We want to cross over, as much as possible. And going back to the art, and this is why I think that, I made the point about Penny earlier. Everything that is depicted in his art, and historically he has done art on actual physical banknotes and currency. And when I first met him, I said to him, look, you've been making your art on inscribing effectively your art on physical banknotes all your life. Why don't we take your art and put it on the thing that's going to end up replacing banknotes? And that's when the Genesis 404 collection was born. All of the people that were early in Ordinals are all collectors of these pieces. They all understand the historical significance. And I think people will look back to this, and they will look back to this collection and see that it was kind of prophetic about what is going to happen to centralized finance. It literally is crumbling all around us. Every year you see examples of it. Control was launched in March 2023 in a wave of bank failures, and we think that's just the start of what's coming. The other thing that I would say is, in terms of the future and where we're going, I don't think that it is a coincidence that we are living in a time where Bitcoin is going from controversial to consensus. I really think that this is something that is never going to happen in our lifetimes again. Something so significant where, something that was considered completely outrageous is becoming mainstream. And we're really getting started. We've had a lot of conversation today about like the micro aspects of Ordinals and, bull markets and bear markets. I really think we're at a launch point now where we are going to look back at this 100K level and just see it as a speck of dust, because it is something that is going to represent such a significant change in the position that it plays in the breakdown of centralized finance and and create this life raft for all of us in this collapsing system. But also, I think it's very, very interesting that this is all happening at the same time as Ordinals is also released. So now, the store of value that us as a generation has created for ourselves, we now have the ability to express ourselves right on there. So like when you pull out a banknote from your wallet, you have absolutely no attachment to the faces that are staring back at you from those banknotes. This is art, this is something that you've inherited. It was created so many generations ago, but this is a currency and a store of value that we've created for ourselves. And now we get to record our own art and our own culture on it. The third point here about the future of all of this is apparently in a few years, we're not going to have jobs anymore. The advent of AI, Butoshi is working very hard to make all of us unemployed. And and so, you know, if that future becomes a reality, and it is true that, you know, we get abundance, let's say we were all without jobs, and we're also increasingly digital as a generation, as a global community, how do you find belonging in that setup? What are you going to use? How are you going to find your communities? Then, and in my view, there really is no superior way or no better way than forming digital communities than NFTs and Ordinals in particular, because they are on Bitcoin. It's because this concept of ownership just doesn't exist with anything else. There is, to the CryptoPunk point that was being made earlier, there is no other way to prove digital ownership and also be part of a massive community apart from Ordinals and NFTs. And so as we search for meaning in our lives in this new world, as we search for belonging, NFTs and Ordinals in particular are going to form the centerpiece of how we find that belonging and how we express ourselves. And I think that you know, we are going to look back, and that's why I was saying at the top of this call, you know, we are supreme in 1994. We've just arrived in New York. No one understands us. No, everybody's looking at us as like a thing which is nuanced, niche, and there's bear markets and bull markets every other week. People think that we're super volatile, but this is all about to change. And this is the starting point of something that is going to be absolutely, absolutely massive and really, really central to a lot of people's lives. And so the more people don't understand us, the more people kind of are confused. It makes me so, so excited about building at this point, because I know where the future is going to be, because it's been demonstrated to us before. And you know, all of these cultures have now matured, and the culture that is building now, or the misunderstood subcultures that are building now, are going to be the mainstream culture of the future. And we are, you know, we're really, really right at the important kind of kickoff phase of all of that. You know, here again, you see, for example, our you know, our pest control can. This is again like a beautiful art piece that collectible that Penny created, just to demonstrate like how centralized finance is, you know, is completely screwing for all of us. Again, here's the Violetta's performance at Bitcoin Nashville. And so you can expect more of this from Control. We are going to continue disrupting. We're going to continue fucking shit up. We're going to continue making people sit up and take note. We are, you know, this is how movements are created. Movements are not created by corporations. Movements are created by a message. Movements are created by making people feel something. And we will continue to focus on this particular part of it. We're always leading with art. We'll always be in people's faces about explaining this, you know, the important kind of mission that we're on. And the final point as well is that, like, you know, this is a global graffiti wall. It is a canvas for all of you. And I've just told you how important this is going to be in the future. And the best part about it is available and accessible to everybody. You've met a few people here, Brustar as well. We have a service called Inscriber where we help people come on blockchain, like come speak to anybody. It's like you now have a canvas a form of money, a store of value. So when you pull out your digital banknote in the future, 5 years from now, and you have the opportunity to record something on it, what is it going to be? What will you create? You know, it's something that is completely flexible and open to you, and it should represent you. And yeah, again, the message is that, you know, culture is built by each and every single one of us. It comes from the grassroots, and you know, I look forward to building along with you guys. I just wanted to also say that is there any audio? Yeah. This is a premiere of a video that we just filmed on location in Shibuya in Tokyo, and we did this purely to represent rare sats.
Japan's central bank ended up triggering a panic. That meltdown just exploded in a massive pile of losses for everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen.